Donald Trump during the campaign was flanked quite often by Elon Musk, and they joked, people thought, about Elon Musk joining the Trump administration, were he to win. Obviously, he did win, and lo and behold, he's actually done it. Now, he's not given a formal government job. It's not like he's going to sit in the cabinet or even be in the White House, but they've set up this thing called the Office of Government Efficiency, the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE for short, which internet sort of subculture meme fans will know is a small fluffy dog. So everyone thought he was joking, and lo and behold, he's actually not. So he'll lead this sort of efficiency drive, looking at where government savings can be made, applying the sort of private sector efficiency that that Elon Musk is sort of famed for at Tesla, at SpaceX. This is a guy that literally puts reusable rockets in the air and grabs them out of the sky with sort of giant chopsticks. So like this, he does know what he's talking about. There is a sort of slight sneer at Elon Musk because he has obviously come out as a Republican and come out as a Trump fan in the American media, American liberal circles. It's quite fashionable at the moment to think that he's an idiot. Now, he's not. He's clearly not an idiot. He's clearly an incredibly intelligent guy who is going to devote his time and resources to the United States, which, in previous times we would have talked to him as some great philanthropist, but because Trump is so toxic to so many parts of the US media, this is always sort of seen as a big laugh. But he's obviously enjoying himself. He's tweeting away about it as ever. He'll lead this department with Vivek Ramaswamy, who was another presidential contender. Trump defeated him in the early primaries last year. Another big Trump supporter, another libertarian, right winger, small state, very outspoken person. I would question whether having two people in charge of a government efficiency department is particularly efficient. He's clearly, moving fast and breaking things. Trump never has to be re-elected again. He's only got 4 years. He's clearly going to be a very different president than he was last time round. When he came into office in 2016, there was a bit of a rush to make lots of appointments. He's the first to admit he chose some bad ones. It looks like he's going to use the transition this time to make some very big appointments, very controversial appointments, but ones that he thinks are going to be different. He's moving fast. He's breaking things. It's going to be a very different presidency, starting with bringing in Elon Musk. Yeah, well, Peter Hegseth is a Fox News contributor, but also a veteran, a decorated veteran, a former military lawyer. He's never served in the Pentagon. Yes, there's all sorts of howling about this morning. He's a sort of anti-woke warrior. He's very anti-DEI. He was actually very pro-Brexit. He's clearly an outspoken guy. He's got his Fox show on at the weekends. Obviously, there are howls of outrage from the sort of military establishment, from CNN, from MSNBC, all these people saying, "Oh, this guy's not qualified," simply because he doesn't agree with them. I suspect he will be putting a chill down the spine of some of the sort of top brass. Those four-star generals in the US will sort of be looking over their shoulder a little bit. Bringing in an outsider to the Pentagon is something that Trump has been talking about again through the campaign. That actually the sort of Pentagon way of doing things does need a dramatic shakeup. And if there's one guy to do it, it's clearly Pete Hegseth. I mean, I suspect there'll be some unease in sort of in the NATO world, across the allies, across the West, that this guy is a kind of relative unknown. He's not someone that they've done business with before, but it's clear that Trump is sending a signal. Business as usual is over.
I'm going to see him on Wednesday.
Where are you going to talk with him about?
Look, now Trump and Biden coming together for lunch at the White House, a sort of traditional handover of power. When power shifts between the two political parties in America, they tend to come together after the election and do everything they can to help that transition. Obviously, that didn't happen in 2020 because Trump was obviously disputing the election all the way through the transition, right up to January the 6th when it was confirmed by Congress. So the sort of the norms were all suspended, well, not really suspended. They sort of thrown out the window quite violently. In 2020, whereas this is actually returning to a more sort of traditional handover of power in the United States, starting with the sort of meetings at the White House. Obviously, Obama did this in 2016. It was very awkward. It was tense. There's amazing pictures of Obama's staff sort of frowning as Donald Trump turned up. But it's just something you got to do. Look, Biden's obviously, we saw him last week with a bit of a spring in his step. He looked like he wasn't the guy that just been beaten by Trump. This is what the Democrats wanted. They handed it to Harris, and in his view, she blew it. There's a lot of bad blood in the Democrats still boiling over the Obamas and the Harrises and the Bidens are all at each other's throats on who's to blame for this. But I suspect we'll see, the usual sort of grinning handshake pose. I imagine it'll be quite awkward. Obviously, these two have been incredibly rude about each other privately, but it does feel like the Biden administration is going to do everything it can to sort of bring the country together. The Democrats were given a well and true tonking by the electorate. They've got to listen to that. So, Biden will go to the inauguration in January, which Trump obviously didn't do in 2020. Obama obviously went to Trump's inauguration. So I think we're sort of almost after this crazy, crazy few months in America, this is the closest we get to a return to normality of how things are normally done.